The Propcast on the Sports Gam Podcast Network is brought to you by Arnold Fantasy. Their company customers play just $5 to send you $5 bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code SGPN.
And Peggy the shot, the ground downfield. He gets the catch, and he gets in for the touchdown. The catch is made by Calvin Ridley. Wilson, as he throws.
And welcome, everyone, to the Propcast here on the Sports Gam Podcast Network. Currently Friday morning, January 9th, around 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm Rose Scourer Show. Once again, Joy and Rosenberg together to break down our favorite props for the entire postseason. We already did our props for Wild Card Weekend. Time to extrapolate, time to talk about the entire postseason, giving out our favorite futures when it comes to players. But Adam, how's it going with you? What's up? Yeah, I know you're eating, so I know you're doing well. I do want to point out,
we're good, but they dropped.
Point out, by the way, we were waiting for books to finally drop lines for these markets, and they finally did. So we ended up being able to record. But we're going to get into the passing props, the rushing props, receiving props, all that fun stuff. Adam, anything you want to talk about, or just move on into it?
Let's jump into it, man.
Cool. So before we get into the actual props that we are going to talk about, a reminder, they can get access to all of our free picks and podcasts at SGPN in one easy location. Check out the SGPN app. So download it for free in the App Store. Type in SGPN. Once again, all of our picks and podcasts, absolutely free, are located in one location. Very easy to use, very easy to download. Check out the SGPN app. So moving on into the passing props first. We're going to look at the passing yards leaders for the actual postseason, and I'm just going to read off some names here. Stafford plus 220, Mays plus 460, Stroud is plus 850, Lawrence plus 850, Hurts is 10-1, Allen is 11-1, Darnold's 13-1, and if you want to mention anybody else, we'll get into that in a second.
A reminder, you don't need to read the whole list.
No, I was going to say, a reminder, though, part of the trickiness of this actual award market or this prop market is the fact that a reminder that it's single elimination. So not only do you need a player that can actually throw the ball for a decent amount of yards, you need a team that's going to actually make a decent run so you can play a couple of games to help your chances of getting there. But Adam, I'll ask you first things first, any interest in any of the favorites, whether it involves Stafford, May, etc.?
So to go back on your point, taking a step back, just want to run through like who were some of the leaders in some of the categories. Like basically the big picture, like you said, the people who end up leading the categories are, with the exception of Devontae Adams in 2019 for receiving yards leader, everybody goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't look at this. Don't look at darts on teams you don't think have a path. I used it to create exposure in different ways for different things. So to get back to your point though, on passing yards, let me pull mine up. I don't know why I lost it. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is.
I did shop around, though. I found some different prices, but it's fine.
Like a better price?
Yeah, I found Stafford at 3-1, for example, instead of 2-20.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Just saying, I did find a couple of differentials.
Yeah, I'm not interested in any of the chalk.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in anything. I'm not interested in any of these. I'm really not interested in anything less than 15-1. I'm just not. So passing yards, I took Purdy at 20-1. I think that there's like game script for him to do a lot this weekend. We saw him on a run of 300 plus yard games. If they beat the Eagles, I like them to make a run. He's just kind of slinging it. If that happens, I think it's because he's slinging it. So Purdy was the only one in that entire thing that really interests me at 20-1. I'm not super into the passing yard stuff, to be totally honest.
Yeah, well, I do want to point out, for example, with Darnold and Knicks, even though both teams might potentially make it to a Super Bowl, a reminder that they are not playing this weekend. So you are losing a game technically based on the actual bye. So keep that in mind. I wanted to ask you, because one name I was considering, if you were not going to go for a favorite like Stafford or May, I was wondering about Lawrence, but that implies they're going to beat Buffalo and potentially make some noise, because I thought Lawrence at 850 did seem a bit intriguing. But I guess the question is, how high are you on Jacksonville? Because I'm not sure if they're going to beat Buffalo in the first round anyway. But you can make an argument that if they are going to make a decent run, Lawrence probably is going to have to throw for a decent amount of yards.
It didn't make sense for me to take him for 850 for the whole playoffs when I have him for 800 for this weekend.
Yeah, you also are going to potentially mention a receiver for Jacksonville down the
road. I mean, and to your Darnold point, like I don't like Darnold for passing. I like Darnold for another category.
Yeah. So there you go. I wanted to mention that, though, because I feel like people might be interested in Lawrence because they are hosting a first-round game.
There's another guy on there. Well, we'll get to it for rushing, but keep going.
Yeah. So just to once again recap, though, you are interested in Purdy, which I don't mind. They still have to beat Philly and all, but Purdy we know has been very good recently.
These are all if it happens.
Yeah, and plus 2,000 definitely makes sense for the actual long shot. BetMGM is 13-1, so plus 2,000 is a good number by comparison over there at FanDuel. Anyway, you want to move on into the receiving yard stuff, or you want to go pass and touchdown?
Whatever you got next on whatever's next. Use the blue book as your example, and just whatever's next.
Cool. So next, we're going to move on into the. We'll go to the receiving next, but once again, looking at the receiving yard stuff.
Where did you want to do passing touchdowns?
Well, that's what I was asking, but
yeah. I mean, whatever you see next on the list on there, just go through it.
No, I know. I'm scrolling down. Passing touchdowns is beneath receiving yards and rushing yards, so that's why I'm just doing it. But I'll do it this way. If you want to just mention your passing touchdown guys, you can just throw them out there. If you want to do it that way.
Yeah. Then we'll just bucket it all together. So I liked Purdy for the passing yards. And again, guys, like I'm looking at this as exposure to teams in a unique way. So I didn't like I like the Eagles to come out of the NFC. Like that's what I'm being pretty blunt about it. I don't have a ton of Eagles liability on this. I also wanted to give myself a chance to like bet game to game, bet prop to prop, do things like that. So passing yards that. I like Darnold for passing TD leader at 14-1. Because I do like that offense. I do like the ability for that offense to blow up and have big games in even less games, even though they're the 1 seed. And I liked Darnold a lot this year as an efficient passer with a lot of TDs than I do necessarily as a guy who's slinging it 300 yards.
Yeah, I see Darnold's at 12-1 on FanDuel, so I guess there has been a little bit of movement there, but still fine when it comes to 12 or 14-1. I mentioned Lawrence for the passing yards. I don't mind the passing touchdowns at 11-1 if you are high on Jacksonville. I think that does make some sense. For the record, by the way, Stafford's a massive favorite in that market. Stafford's around plus 190 and May's plus 650. Like that's how big of a differential we're talking about for the actual favorite. And a reminder, the Rams aren't actually hosting any playoff games. So I do find that kind of interesting. But either way, I don't mind Lawrence for that market. I know you said you liked Purdy for yards. Any thoughts on Purdy for touchdowns at 22-1?
Nope. Only one I was interested in was this one. Yep.
Cool. So I think that's going to wrap it up for the passing yards or passing props. Before we get into the other player stuff, a reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, which is Kalshi. If you want to check out real money prediction markets available in every state, use Kalshi. Trade tons of markets and sports, including the NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and more. Plus, you can also trade props like first touchdowns. They also have other options besides sports. They have politics, entertainment, and even the weather. And if you want to check out Kalshi and you're new to the platform, it's $20 for free when you sign up. If you use the code SGPN, that's Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Arnold Fantasy. So if you like pick 'em entries, chance to win 5,000 times your entry, pick higher or lower on player stats. We'll give out a pick 'em entry, or we already did for the wildcard episode. We will not do one for this episode. But either way, a reminder that they have you cover the holiday season with Underdog Unwrapped. Unwrapped tons of promos all throughout the holidays. And if you are new to the platform, they have a new offer for new customers. Play just $5. It's $75 bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Propcast. Finished going through the passing props for the postseason. Time to move on into the receiving stuff. So starting off with the yards. Puka is at plus 230. Smith and Jigba's at 480. A.J. Brown, 10-1. Nico Collins, 11-1. Devontae Smith, 16-1. Devontae Adams, 19-1. Diggs, plus 2,000. Sun, 25-1. To be honest, I could read off the names for a while, so I'm going to stop there. But if you want to mention anybody as a long shot, you can. Adam, I'm going to ask you for starters, are you interested in any of the favorites, unlike the passing props?
Still not.
Okay.
Because last year we won on Xavier Worthy 65-1.
Yes.
So I'm never going back. So I am interested in, there's 3 guys I'm interested in. They're all priced around the same area. CMC at 80-1 for receiving yards leader, I think is crazy because he had 1,000 yards receiving. If the Niners team moves and makes a run, that's a bonkers price for a guy that had 1,000 yards on that team. Agreed?
It doesn't make any sense that he's at 80-1 and Juwan Jennings at 50-1.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Next, I did take a jag. So everyone's real big on Parker Washington because he's got deep threat, and everybody's very big on Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers doesn't really do the yardage thing. He's an underneath guy. But there's another guy who we've gotten great value on because he's supposed to be the next Malik Neighbors, and he hasn't been. BTJ at 60-1, I think, is a great price on a guy that could take a step up in the playoffs and have like a 100-yard game. You only need like 280 yards, or you only need like 250, really. To remind everybody, Goddard was leading, and I have him on my card. Goddard was leading until the Super Bowl, until that bomb to Worthy. So I like BTJ at 60-1, which I would tie that to my Jags liability. I just think that he could be part of that run. I have a really good feeling about that one too. Okay. And then Goddard on the Eagles at 55-1. He was receiving yards leader up until the last play of the game last Super Bowl. So tight ends do pretty well in this market. Most of the time it's been Kelsey basically every year because we got prime Kelsey the last 4 years.
Yeah, so I was trying to look at one of the favorites to consider, and I thought about Nico, but that implies that you have faith in the Texans, and I thought 11-1 was too short for a Texans team that is still not exactly a guarantee by any means to make a deep run in the AFC. So That's why I thought Collins was too cheap. I ended up passing on him. Sutton has a bye, but I don't know if I wanted him anyway. Jacksonville has a bunch of people in the market who you could target. I didn't mind Washington, but as you mentioned, I do think that Thomas Jr. is the better price, being $15 better value by comparison. Yeah, I was trying to think of which tight end I wanted to actually consider going to, and I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be Goddard because I don't really trust the actual passing game that much. Thought about Kittle at 35-1, but I kind of wanted to ask you if you thought Kittle was too cheap at 35-1.
I think he's a little too cheap. I like him for receiving TDs.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I was torn there. I mean, Thomas Jr. makes sense. I mean, DK at 50-1, I have no faith in the Steelers at all, so that's not an option. Dalton Schultz I thought about at 65-1 if I was going to go for a tight end, but I mean, do you actually like Houston's potential?
That's so tied to a long run for them, which I'm okay not having.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. I mean, Kincaid's at 70. If you wanted to go for that,
can't stay in the lineup. He's always hurt.
I know that's the tricky part. And like McConkey's at 80. I don't trust the Chargers at all. They can't block anybody, so that's just not going to work out. Yeah, once again, I don't really see much in terms of, let's say, long shot value besides what we talked about with McCaffrey and with Thomas Jr. I still don't mind Parker Washington because I just like him as a player in general. But I mean, Diggs at plus 2,000 if you wanted to go for New England, but I don't know if you actually do at plus 2,000.
I mean, I like it. Again, that's another one where it's the same price for him to do it this weekend in a primetime game, and I just think the angle on it this week is a little bit better.
Yeah, that definitely makes some sense. If you wanted to go for receiving touchdowns, though, Adams is the favorite at 440. Puka's at 11-1, which is very interesting because you have two wide receiver teammates as the two favorites, but Adams, of course, is much cheaper than the rest. A.J. Brown, 13-1. Smith and Jigba's 15-1. Hunter Henry, 18-1. Diggs, 19-1. You kind of get the point. If you want to go for any other Eagles guys, Goddard's at 22-1. Devontae Smith is at 22-1 as well. So, Adam, I know you just alluded to it before. You were a fan of Kittle at 40-1, correct?
Yeah, I love Kittle at 40-1 here. So these are really, I think, good ways to play the Niners liability because I think if the Niners beat the Eagles and they're primed to make a run, because I would argue that the Eagles are the best defense in the NFC, and it would be a huge juice to do that. And just Kittle is like capable of like 55 with 3 TDs, like kind of things like that. Tight ends are sort of those things where it just kind of shortens yourself in the end zone. And I think that I like that. I also like Troy Franklin I have him at 61, but he's 80-1 now. And that's fine with that. We saw him have a 2 TD game earlier this year on that Denver team. It's a little bit of a crapshoot all over the place, but again, you really only need 3 TDs to win this. So I like it a lot because they just use him all over the field and he's always there.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I did want to ask you, though, if you were going to go for a Rams guy, any thoughts on Higbee at 35-1? The too cheap for a guy that just came back from injury?
And they also like using all 3 tight ends.
Yeah, they do. Well, Ferguson might not play this week, but yes.
Yeah, but that's still Davis Allen and
Parkinson.
And Parkinson.
Yeah, so I get that. I was just asking because I know Higbee might be a popular choice there.
I get it.
But I do want to ask you, though, as an Eagles fan, any thoughts on Goddard at 22-1, considering the fact they run those random goal line?
I liked it. It was a little too short for me for this category.
So what was your number, like 30? Did you want it?
30, 35. Okay. 35
cool.
to 1.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I'm interested in.
35 to 1, I think it's a fair price also on a team that we know runs first.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't mind maybe going for, I mean, you mentioned Kittle. I didn't mind Jennings in this category because Jennings has definitely been a red zone target of Purdy's that I think makes sense at 50-1. So if you want to go for another Niners guy, that could be an option. I looked at Kincaid at 40-1. I know that he is always going to be an injury question mark, but I do think if you want to argue that Buffalo is going to make some noise and we know the receiving talent is minimal on that team, I think that Kincaid makes some sense at plus 4,000. Any thoughts on your boy Strange at 40-1?
Wasn't my favorite Jag.
Okay, fair enough. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I mean, the Packers have options, but I don't really trust the Packers to make a series.
Yeah, I just don't like them to make that run. And that team, it's like really bunch of different paper cuts, you know?
Yeah, definitely true.
Jaden Reed would be interesting to me because they use him in rushing plays too.
Yeah. By the way, McCaffrey is the same price for receiving touchdowns as he is for yards. So he's at 80-1 for that. I know you mentioned Franklin 80-1. Just quickly seeing if there's any serious long shots.
I saw AJ Barner, I think, was there too at 175-1. He narrowly missed my cut.
Barner is currently at 175-1. That is correct. So
I just didn't want to have like a ton of guys. That's not. I don't hate that.
Yeah, so that could definitely be something. Actually, let me just make sure. For touchdowns, he's at 45-1. For yards, he's at 175-1.
There you go.
So
yeah,
that
I don't
could
hate
be an
Barner.
option too. But
I don't hate Barner. There's a couple other guys though that I did like.
Cool. Anything else you want to mention for the receivers, or just move on?
Nope. We can move to the
cool.
backs.
Moving on to the running backs for the postseason. So, looking at the rushing yard leader of the right now, favorite is Saquon at 350. Cook is at
wild, right? Wild. That's a wild price for him.
Cook is at 410. Kyron's at 470. ETN's at 950. Woody Marks at 14-1. Travion, assuming he's fully healthy, is at 14-1 as well. Swift 17-1, Jacob 17-1. You kind of get the point. So, Adam, I'll ask you. I know we just mentioned a second ago that Barkley being the favorite is kind of absurd based on how underwhelming he was this season. But I guess the argument is usage is going to usage, so maybe why not? But any thoughts on this market?
Yeah, the guys that I liked in this market. So I liked Zach Charbonnet in this market, and I know that he is priced behind Kenneth Walker, but they love him, man, and they love getting him on the field, and they love his. And I feel like every time I turn on a Seahawks game, he's breaking for one. I liked him. He was this morning for a heartbeat. He was 100-1, and then he went back down to 50-1. So I think he's 50-1 now.
Yeah.
That's the only one I was really interested in. I also liked Woody Marks, but what was that? The problem is that I think a lot of that yardage is actually the biggest matchup I think for him that's good is this weekend. So I did have Woody Marks at 18-1 for rushing yards leader this weekend because I think if he does it, it's a big game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so, I do want to ask you, though, for Marks, does it concern you that they've been using some other running backs, not even Chubb recently?
No, because they've been pretty open about injuries and stuff with some of the guys.
Okay. All right, cool. But I think that this is probably the most underwhelming market out of all of them.
I agree.
I mean, I would pick Cook at 410, but I don't like the value at 410, so I'm not going to.
The only quarterback on there, if I recall, was Allen, and
Josh Allen's at 250-1.
Right, and so I don't know. It's a little bit crazy to me. I think there's some QBs. Obviously, you and I threw darts at for this weekend. It's just very different over the course of the entire time.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to go for a flyer, maybe. I mean, 50-1 is a serious flyer. I'd consider ETN, but I probably wouldn't trust him to actually do it. But 950, it's okay. It's
okay. It's just I want that 10-1. It just kind of feels really. It feels really short. Under 10-1,
and a lot of these teams rotate running backs. So
and this gives us the room to bet them the game. You know.
Yeah, but that's why you have two pretty decent favorites here with Barkley and Cook, it's because they're bell cow guys. I mean, even Kyron at 470, I think is too low because they still use Corum. So I don't really like
a lot.
Yeah, it's a usage thing for me. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that market. I think we agree. We're just not really that interested. Moving on into the rushing touchdowns market. So for this one, Allen's at plus 850, Kyron's at 850, Saquon's at 950, Hurts at 10-1, ETN's 12-1, Cook is at 12-1, Jacobs 15-1, Charbonnet 16-1. You kind of get the point. So any other favorites you're interested in?
I didn't bet him, but Hurts is interesting.
That was the one I was looking at 10-1.
The 10-1 feels like a poison number, though.
I think it is interesting that he's 50 cents. I'd say better value than Barkley when we know that they've not been as effective on tush pushes this season, but it's still the go-to play on the one.
He hasn't done a lot. Yeah.
So that could be why.
Yeah, I went a little bit longer. Like the shortest I went was again Charbonnet at 18-1. I feel like every time I look up, he's got the first touchdown and things like that. They definitely use him a lot in that. And then I like two quarterbacks. I like Trevor Lawrence, 27-1. He had 9 touchdowns this season. And Bo Nix, who's 80-1. I like I think that those are two guys that could run it in a gotta have it moment.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I know McCaffrey's at 27-1 if you want to go for the option there for the Niners. The Patriots I'm going to have to pass on because Henderson and Stevenson are priced neck and neck, so I don't really know who's going to get more usage. I like Charbonnet. They tend to use him in the red zone as well, so I don't mind that at 16-1. I didn't mind Cook at 12-1. I know that Allen did have more rushing touchdowns than Cook this season.
He
Allen
did have like
14.
3 in this weekend, and it's like a thing. But I think they get their butts kicked.
Yeah, I mean, Allen had 14 this year. Cook had 12. So you can make an argument that Allen makes sense being the favorite. But I would consider Cook at 12-1. I think he can have the multiple touchdown game that you need. And he has been the best offensive weapon for this team because we know the receivers stink. So I don't mind Cook potentially at 12-1. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. I mean, you mentioned Lawrence, which is fine.
I thought the quarterbacks were a lot of fun because I think just quarterbacks kind of do a lot of it, and we have a good group of quarterbacks that do a lot of those.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are fun. I think Nick's at 70-1 is intriguing. I mean, you mentioned Lawrence, which makes sense as well. I mean, I'll ask you because you mentioned him for rushing yards. Any thoughts on Marks or no? Because the Texans might not be good enough.
Well, I just think that there's other guys that might be able to do that. Like my Marks stuff is all built around the fact that I really don't like the Steelers' run defense, and so it's more built around that game. But like Woody Marks isn't like their touchdown hog, you know what I mean? So it just wasn't. It didn't like. Call me crazy here, but like every time that you like have a Seahawks game or something on, do you not feel like you see Charbonnet's name called a billion times?
Well, there's a running joke, which is that Kenneth Walker gets them inside the 10-yard line, and then Charbonnet gets the red zone carries. That's like the running joke with this team. So I am fine with Charbonnet for the touchdowns. I'll throw in McCaffrey. I think 27-1 is a good price. He still had 10 rushing touchdowns this season. I know this does not include receiving touchdowns, which can be the annoying part here, but 27-1 for a guy who we know is a future Hall of Famer who the Niners should give the ball to in the red zone. I think 27-1 is a good price.
Yep.
I'll go for that.
I like it.
There you go. Any other markets you want to mention, or should we just move on into some?
There's nothing else there. They have a lot of these. I think a lot of these, like to get 500 yards, to get 700. I think those are sucker bets.
Well, I found some DGen actual markets if you want to consider talking about those, but we don't have to. I found interception leader and I found field goal leader.
Where were those?
It was on BetMGM, so we can't actually bet it.
So I can't even actually bet it.
No, but do you want to talk about interceptions?
Sure. I mean, they'll tell me who's the chalk for field goal leader.
So for field goal leader, the chalk is Myers at 4-1. Mevis is 6-1. Elliott 7-1, which I think is insane. Lutz is at 7-1 as well. Fairbairn is at 8-1, my boy. Prater's at 9-1. Little's at 10-1. Borregales is 13-1. And there you go. So
Prater's hurt. So that's a bad Fiber. I would do Fiber. He could have 4 field goals this week, and it could win it.
Yeah, I mean Fairbairn's the guy. I mean the guy.
Fairbairn's the guy. Fairbairn's the guy. There's no other guy who I'm interested in that.
Yeah, he's at 8-1. I was interested in Myers, but with the buy and the cheap price, I can't really take it.
Was a little bit shaky the last couple starts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of other people that I could consider. Borgalis, I didn't mind, but I don't know if I wanted it. I guess Cam Little's intriguing if you think
Cam Little's intriguing.
If they're going to send him out there from 60, I mean, you might as well if he is the leg. But
I just don't think that they're going to do that a lot. I think they're going to try to be offensive about it and like throw the ball.
That's kind of how I feel as well. So, yeah, not many amazing options here. I mean, if you think the Steelers make a decent run, then Boswell at 25-1, but that implies you're picking the Steelers to make some noise.
To win at least 2 games. And they're not, yeah, exactly.
Correct. But Boswell, we know, is a guy. You know who I'll actually take? I'll take our boy. Fast Eddie's 35-1.
Fast Eddie's great.
So 35-1 I'll take. I think that's a good price. Sure. So there you go. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the player futures for the NFL playoffs. Before getting to our best bets, a reminder that we are brought to you by our sponsor, Novig. So if you like prediction markets, check out Novig, rated #1 in America for sports prediction markets. Get some reduced juice. Great price available on Novig. Download the app. Get $50 and you spend just $5 if use our code SGPN at sign up. That's once again Novig, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. They've been great this NFL season, especially on props. Been really good at identifying players and taking unders. Check out their college basketball stuff. Check them out for models. A reminder, you could also use models in a couple of different ways. You could build your own, copy one for the leaderboard, or let Rhythm's house models build plays for you, and you could just simply tail them. So keep that in mind. Also, once again, for props, looking at the Smart Signals tab, I'm just going to read off one play that they like for this upcoming weekend. They are fans of Chuba Hubbard over 24.5 rushing yards, at -114. So if you want to back a Rhythm play, they like Hubbard over 24.5 rushing yards. Anyway, reminder, if you want to check out Rhythm, check out the actual promo code that we have for a nice discount. Use the code SGPN25 when you download the app. Get 25% off your first month. That's Rhythm, RATHMN. Promo code SGPN25 for 25% off your first month. Welcome back, everyone, to the Propcast. Finished going through the player markets for the entire postseason. Time to move on into the best bets. Adam, what is your best bet out of all the props you gave out?
It's got to be this BTJ 60-1 for receiving yards. I think that's a crazy number.
So I'm actually going to go rogue. I'm going to go with the last market we talked about. I understand the Eagles might beat the Niners. I think they will, but we'll see what happens. Pinheiro at 35-1 to field goal lead, I think is insane. We've been giving him out for like the entire year, and we know Shanahan's one of those coaches that will be willing to take points if needed. So I think 35-1 is insane.
I'll call it in for us. I will call it in for us right now.
Just saying, like, I think 35-1 for a kicker that tends to make, 2+ a game, I think has value. He could have a crazy game where he makes like 4. It wouldn't shock me. So give me Pinheiro as my best bet here at 35-1 to lead the entire postseason in field goals. No underdog, of course, for the show. That's going to wrap it up. So, Adam, anything else you want to add?
Nah, got to go to a dumb work call.
Cool. Before you do that, though, a reminder, support the show, like, subscribe on YouTube at the SGPN Propcast. Also check it out on Spotify or Apple. Check out the Propcast on Twitter at the Propcast SGPN. Find us on Twitter at Reicher Radio and at Hey Rosenberg. And a reminder, we have another episode on Monday. We will break down the Steelers game against the Texans. So we'll give out some player props on that one exclusively. Anyway, till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.